Welcome to the mini-module Foundations of Multi-Tiered Systems of Support, Comprehensive Behavior Support Planning, a Tier 3 intervention. This mini-module is brought to you by Connecticut State Education Resource Center, or CERC, with funding from the Connecticut School Climate Transformation Grant. The U.S. Department of Education awarded Connecticut the grant in 2014, and CERC and the Connecticut State Department of Education subsequently undertook a statewide analysis of multi-tiered systems of support. This analysis attempted to identify strengths of implementation, as well as areas for improvement that could be targeted through improved training and technical assistance. This module will provide foundational information through which schools can improve implementation. In order to conduct the analysis of multi-tiered systems, the Connecticut State Department of Education selected the Tiered Fidelity Inventory as the instrument. The Tiered Fidelity Inventory, or TFI, was developed as part of the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Special Education Programs National Technical Assistance Center on Positive Behavioral Interventions and Supports. The TFI measures how school personnel are applying the core features of school-wide positive behavioral interventions and supports. It is intended to provide a valid, reliable, and efficient measure over the 3 tiers of intervention. During the course of analysis, 175 facilitated sessions were held in schools across Connecticut, where school teams analyzed their process. Several common themes emerged from the aggregate data from items on the Tiered Fidelity Inventory. We would like to acknowledge that content and best practices were gleaned from the tool as well as resources from pbis.org and nepbis.org websites. The goal of this mini-module is to help participants understand the core features of a comprehensive support plan for students who have not responded to universal or targeted supports and would benefit from more intensive intervention. A Tier 3 behavior support plan is developed by a school-based team with full engagement of the student and the family, as well as the input from community agencies providing wraparound services as appropriate. When developing the plan, it is essential to consider each of the core feature areas to ensure a comprehensive plan. The 7 core features are prevention strategies, teaching strategies, strategies for withholding acknowledgment for demonstrating the target behavior, specific acknowledgment for desired behaviors, safety elements as needed, a plan for assessing the fidelity of implementation, and a plan for assessing impact on student performance, as well as a full action plan for ensuring the plan is executed. Each of the items considered should be culturally and contextually appropriate for the student and family, as well as the school setting. It is important to note that the final plan may not include all of the features, as some may not be deemed necessary to improve student performance. We will review each of these features in more detail throughout the module. In preparation for the support plan draft, the team will likely have conducted a functional behavioral assessment and determined the function of the student's behavior. That is to say, they have determined what the benefit is to the student for demonstrating the target behavior, like peer attention or task avoidance. This should have led to the development of a hypothesis statement from which to begin their work. It is also important in that process to identify behaviors that are appropriate. The plan development should involve outlining positive strategies that will reduce the likelihood of the target behavior and increase the use of more appropriate means of getting their needs met. The plan should also capitalize on appropriate behaviors that should be encouraged and maintained. The first 2 core features ask teams to consider prevention strategies and teaching strategies. With respect to prevention strategies, the team will focus on strategies to address setting events and antecedents. Setting events are those events that occur that make it more likely that an antecedent will trigger the target behavior. Therefore, setting event strategies are designed to eliminate or neutralize effects of setting events. For example, on Monday mornings, student K has to take the bus to school instead of getting a ride. This requires student K to wake up 35 minutes earlier than on days when a ride is available. In the team's data analysis, frequent office discipline referrals occur early in the school day on Monday mornings. The team could hypothesize that a setting event for student K on Monday mornings is having to take the bus and being more tired than usual. A setting event prevention strategy could be considered that would minimize the likelihood that the setting event occurs. When we consider student K, the team might recommend an alternative form of transportation that would allow student K additional rest on Monday mornings, or help student K establish a routine of going to sleep earlier on Sunday evenings. Many times, setting events are not able to be directly impacted by school-based interventions. This demonstrates all the more reason to engage fully with families and any outside providers to ensure a contextual fit, as they often can have more direct impact. The next prevention strategy to consider are those that can impact the antecedents. Recall that the antecedent is an environmental factor that triggers the target behavior. Antecedent strategies make triggering antecedents irrelevant. Identifying a prevention strategy that addresses the antecedent trigger should mean altering the environment. Examples of antecedent strategies include physically redesigning the environment, increasing opportunities for student choice, providing more structure and predictability, altering instructional practices, or increasing prompts and pre-corrections. Thinking back to student K, if the target behavior that is being addressed is not doing the assigned independent work, we might reduce the number of independent activities required at the start of the day in order to allow for a smoother transition into the school day. For a difficult task, this could include reducing the number of items the student is expected to complete independently at the start of the day, and providing time later in the day to complete the task when student K has successfully transitioned. The next feature teams should consider are explicit teaching and acknowledgment strategies. When teams consider these strategies, we want to pair them together. Explicitly teaching the desired behavior with specific objectives and appropriate scaffolding is essential. Behavior teaching strategies make target behaviors inefficient. Teaching a replacement behavior paired with increased acknowledgment for the use of the replacement behavior increases the likelihood that the skill is achieved. It also increases the likelihood that the student's needs are met at least as efficiently, if not more efficiently, than using the target behavior. Consequent strategies are designed to make maintaining consequences ineffective. This means they do not derive the same benefit they were previously receiving for demonstrating the target behavior. In revisiting our example, student K may be taught to complete 3 items independently, and then student K can select a time on the visual schedule to complete the rest of the work. Once those 2 replacement behaviors are completed, the teacher will allow student K 10 minutes on the classroom beanbag. The identified acknowledgment strategy of sitting on the beanbag chair reinforces the desired behaviors, and the identification of the beanbag chair was derived from student K's participation in the plan development about what would be motivating. When student K returns to the work at the time designated, student K will receive additional positive acknowledgment. If student K does not do the revised morning routine or does not complete the work at the designated time, then the plan will outline the response strategy the classroom teacher can use, including strategies for withholding acknowledgment. When the team is building the plan, considering the competing behavior pathway is important. The goal is to support the student in behaving in ways that support student performance academically and socially. Developing a function-based plan will account for the student's unmet need and allow for growth towards that goal. First, the team identifies the target behavior, that is, the one that is targeted for change. Then, the team identifies what event or condition occurs just prior to the behavior occurring, the antecedent. By seeing what occurs immediately after the behavior, the team can determine what the maintaining consequence is. And over time, if the behavior continues on multiple occasions, the team can infer the function of the behavior, that is, the benefit to the student for continuing the target behavior. In conversation with the family and student, the team may identify the setting event that makes the antecedent more likely to trigger the behavior. Once these components are identified, the team can begin to work on the plan that will assist the student, including identifying a replacement behavior that can be used to replace the target behavior, while allowing time for the skill development necessary to achieve the desired behavior. Let's build the pathway for Student K. The team determined that on Monday mornings, when Student K has taken the bus to school, the setting event, and then is presented with independent work, the antecedent, Student K demonstrates non-compliance, the target behavior. Student K is then not required to complete the work, the consequence, and this benefits Student K by being able to avoid the task, the function. In the plan for Student K, the team has identified the desired behavior of completing the work without complaint in the hopes that Student K experiences the positive typical consequences of increased skills and higher grades. In order to build a comprehensive support plan, the team needs to consider the 7 core features of a support plan and identify the strategies that will be employed. The team selects a replacement behavior or acceptable short-term alternative. For Student K, that is reducing the number of items Student K is expected to do at the start of the day, and to select a time to complete the work later in the day. This alternative does not completely remove the work expectation, but it reduces it to a manageable level for that time of day and increases Student K's planning skills by selecting a time to meet the expectation. The replacement behavior meets the function of avoiding the task while still providing access to skill rehearsal and to the curriculum. In selecting the replacement behavior, the team considers which teaching and acknowledgment strategies will be most effective to get Student K to use the replacement behavior. The plan clearly defines the replacement behavior, identifies how it will be taught, and monitors how Student K is systematically acknowledged for the use of the replacement behavior, and ultimately the use of the desired behavior. In order to reduce the likelihood of the target behavior occurring, the team reviews potential prevention strategies that could be applied to either the setting event or the antecedent. A high-quality prevention strategy could help to eliminate the problem context entirely. In Student K's case, this might be providing alternative transportation on Monday mornings, or providing a prompt to Student K to set a reminder to go to sleep earlier on Sunday evenings to address the setting event. In order to increase the likelihood that Student K will reach the desired behavior, higher value acknowledgment strategies will be selected based on input from the student and family. Other important questions the team asks are, how can we prevent the target behavior from being reinforced? What are the efficient and consistent responses to the target behavior? How will the team use data to monitor Student K's progress? How will the team use data to monitor the strategies implemented by the teacher? The comprehensive plan provides the consistency and intention necessary for Student K to learn more efficient, appropriate behavior. The ultimate goal is positive student performance, whether that is in academics, social interactions, or emotional development. When considering replacement behaviors and potential supports that will be provided to the students, the team should examine the potential impact on the students' access, participation, and progress in the curriculum. The team should consider, is the selected replacement behavior or other intervention increasing student learning? Is the team seeing higher engagement with the curriculum, with their peers, or understanding of themselves and others? Is the student developing skills that foster independence? The team's close examination of the options should identify strategies that do all three and have a high impact on learning, access to curriculum, and increased independence. Once a plan is implemented, it is crucial to regularly track progress with an eye towards the desired outcomes, inclusive of student performance and fidelity of implementation on the part of staff. Documenting progress needs to be viewed as a science. The more objective and observable the assessment, the more reliable the tracking of the student progress. The team needs to be consistent in our assessment process and tools, as well as the reporting format. A graph is the ideal way to demonstrate student progress and can be easily accessible in communicating with staff, the student, and family members. Monitoring must happen frequently in order to have an accurate understanding of the progress. The team should avoid making decisions about interventions without current data. It's important to note that there is a distinction between monitoring and evaluating. Monitoring is an ongoing piece of the implementation process. It is done at least weekly and provides information to adjust the plan. Evaluation is a summative assessment of what actually occurred. It focuses on how the plan was implemented and the outcomes for the student. Evaluation information is used to make decisions on what needs to occur next. In other words, should the plan be continued because the student is making progress, modified because the intervention did not match the need or there was limited progress, or ended because the student has achieved the desired outcome? Having addressed each of the core features, the team will have a high-quality plan to improve student performance. Thank you for participating in this mini-module and working to improve the quality of multi-tiered systems of support.